Welcome back to our series, Creationism versus Evolution. In today's episode, episode 13, we're diving into the complex issue of order and its implications in the evolutionary theory. When we scrutinize every detail of evolution, debates can arise over the plausibility of each facet or the question of whether such plausibility is even necessary. However, when we consider the theory as a whole, a very specific problem emerges, the problem of the emergence of order. This issue is rooted in a basic human intuition, often overlooked by analytical philosophy, which prefers to jump straight to the scientific definition of the problem. Yet, ordinary people might prefer not to rely solely on the endorsement of analytical philosophy, which fails to acknowledge any axiom of science. A theory based on the invalidity of the principle of causality, for example, does not deserve a place in the realm of science. The emergence of order poses a problem for those who believe in the principle of causality. Evolution theory comes into play precisely to explain that order arises as a result of natural selection. However, this explanation simplifies a complex process and does not offer a true explanation. Philosophically, there is no difference between creating a complex world with diverse life forms and creating a nucleus subject to laws that produce such a world. Evolution does not explain the creation of natural laws and the rules that guided evolution, nor how the potential for life was inherent in matter, leaving the wonder of complexity from simplicity unresolved. This issue is raised, among others, by Professor Shoshani, who argues that neo-Darwinism actually strengthens the hypothesis of an intelligent entity beyond humans. Even according to evolutionary theory, there are laws that define development and adaptation, leading to the question, who designed these laws? If the world were entirely random without any laws, no stable physical system, whether an atom or a molecule, could exist, let alone amino acids and the biochemical compounds composed of them. The neo-Darwinian theory, which posits that complex living beings were created through random processes, shifts the focus of inherent intelligence from these entities to the laws that created them. In essence, the creation of a single nucleus from which a whole world develops requires intelligence, no less than the direct creation of the world itself. Thus, evolutionary theory does not solve the fact of design. This parallels the witty response to the watchmaker analogy. No, there's no creator of the watch, no genius, no design, just chance. There's merely a factory producing watches on its own, attracting metals through a special mechanism, autonomous machines making the watches without any human touch or thought, just a matter of time and the forces operating in the factory. The scientific field dealing with the state of released energy into the world is thermodynamics. One of the fundamental laws of physics is the Second Law of Thermodynamics, as determined by the Frenchman Sadi Carnot, 1796 to 1832, in the early 19th century. This law states that in natural processes, the amount of disorder in a closed system increases over time. The physicist Clausius, 1822 to 1888, gave this principle a clear and precise mathematical formulation by introducing a new quantitative concept called entropy. This quantity has a special property. In all natural processes, its numerical value can only increase, or more precisely, it never decreases. Natural phenomena exhibit a time asymmetry, with the trend being that the entropy of the world is increasing. Order requires effort and concentration. Disorder happens on its own. When an object is struck or falls, it breaks and deteriorates, never the opposite. Isaac Asimov formulates the law. Another way to state the second law of thermodynamics is that the universe is constantly moving towards disorder. In this light, we can see the realization of the second law everywhere we look. We must put in hard work to organize our homes. Leave a room alone and see how quickly it becomes cluttered. Even if no living being enters it, layers of dust and dirt will accumulate. Much effort is needed to maintain a house and machinery. How many treatments must we perform on our bodies to keep them clean and in good condition? Indeed, everything deteriorates and wears out if we do not invest in its proper care and maintenance. This law is not disputed. Einstein described it as the supreme law of all science. Eddington defines it as a metaphysical law of the entire universe. Evolutionary theory describes a theoretical possibility of multiple actions. Mutations may occur, mutants may survive, and of course destructive action may prevent the embedding of order into the mechanism of life. Here the law states that it is impossible for energy to become ordered without any mechanism to convert it through additional energy consumption. The mechanism of natural selection is a random mechanism. It does not use an energy source directly for a specific purpose. Therefore, there is no possibility for the creation of order and systematic complexity without a mechanism to cause it. In other words, against the method of natural selection stands entropy, the randomness that opposes the creation of order. The replication mechanism and the ways for a mutant to overcome are not mechanisms that create order. They do not have information that causes the conversion of energy into order. Therefore, there is no possibility for the creation of order in random processes from energy. The common defense for evolution is that the law only concerns closed systems, while on Earth there is a constant influx of energy from the sun. However, this defense is problematic. Energy cannot be converted into complexity without a force enslaving another energy to a mechanism of order, just as a car cannot do anything with quantities of fuel flowing into it without an energy conversion mechanism to order the operation of an engine. The natural selection mechanism is not an energy conversion mechanism, but randomness. The mechanism converting the energy of the car also wears out over time and requires energy utilization to repair and order it to function over time. Solar energy is converted into chemical energy by a driven system, such as the human digestive system, the photosynthesis system in plants. Not only that, evolution does not claim that order was created somewhere, but that order is increasing, that the world is becoming more organized over time. Since the sun does not contain a force that creates order, but contains dispersing energy, there is no significance to Earth's separation from the sun. The Earth-Sun system is one closed system, although there is negligible energy penetration from the outside, containing a lot of energy, but this system converts the existing energy into order systematically. The development, as G.H. Rush writes, in their complex path of development, life exhibits an unusual contradiction to the tendency described by the Second Law of Thermodynamics. While the second law expresses an irreversible progression towards an increase in entropy and disorder, life continuously develops towards higher levels of order. The topic is presented explicitly as a contradiction to evolution. Developmentist Roger Lewin writes, "One of the problems facing biologists is the explicit contradiction that evolution poses to the second law of thermodynamics. Systems are supposed to degenerate over time and provide less order, not more." This is particularly evident in the issue of the formation of the first cell, as another developmentist, George Stavropoulos, writes, "According to the second law, under normal conditions, no complex organic molecule could ever form spontaneously, but would decompose. Indeed, the more complex it is, the less stable it will be, and thus the certainty of its decomposition is strengthened. It is still not possible to understand photosynthesis and all life processes, and even life itself, in terms of thermodynamics or any other exact science, despite the use of language that is confused or intentionally confusing. At some point, solutions in the style of some kind of magic appeared, as Jeremy Rifkin writes, "The law of entropy dictates that evolution will disperse all the total available energy for life on this planet." Our idea of evolution is the complete opposite. We believe that evolution somehow magically creates greater overall value and order on Earth. Another common argument is that energy can be converted into order without a conversion source. As ice crystals create beautiful shapes, sea waves create seemingly orderly forms. This is claimed following the Belgian scientist Ilya Prigogine. However, this defense is problematic too. The order coming from random events is limited. Its basis is in symmetry. A beautiful and astonishing ice crystal the size of Tel Aviv can be converted into a simple formula that can be created randomly. A dripping faucet that receives material evenly and under equal pressure can create a symmetrically captivating shape, because there was no pressure on one side more than the other. This order does not require information that cannot be created by itself. But basic order is not organized in systematic complexity. According to the law of conservation of matter energy, energy exists forever. It is only converted. The second law of thermodynamics deals with the conversion of energy. Solar radiation reaches the Earth and is absorbed or emitted further. The energy is necessarily converted. To create complexity, unlike symmetries, a converter is needed to achieve a specific result that is not inherent in the internal potential of the energy. The American scientists Charles B. Thaxton, Walter L. Bradley, and Roger L. Olson stand on this clear difference in their book, The Mystery of Life's Origin, writing, "In any case, random movements of molecules in a fluid are spontaneously replaced by high-order behavior. Prigogine, Eigen, and others suggest that a similar type of self-organization might be essential in organic chemistry and might potentially be responsible for very complex macromolecules vital to living systems. However, these comparisons are of minimal relevance to the question of the origin of life. The main reason is that they fail to distinguish between order and complexity. Regularity or order cannot serve to store the large amount of information required for living systems. Instead of an orderly structure, what is needed here is a highly irregular yet detailed structure. This is a serious flaw in the proposed analogy. There is no clear and obvious connection between the type of spontaneous order that occurs from the flow of energy through these systems and the work required to build unstable macromolecules with intensive information, such as DNA and protein. In fact, even Prigogine himself acknowledges the problematic nature of the first cell's formation. The problem of biological order involves the transition from molecular activity to the supramolecular order of the cell. This problem is far from solved. In episode 13b of our series, we continue exploring the debate on life's origins and the universe's design, delving into the complexities of evolution, creationism, and the finely tuned cosmos. Join us as we discuss the challenges facing evolutionary theory, alternative explanations for life's origin, and expert insights from cosmology to theology. Stay tuned for a thought-provoking journey into the mysteries of our existence and the universe.